Why this car exposed the difference between skill and ego. At first, it felt flattering, almost generous, as if the car was agreeing with the driver's self-image, reinforcing the belief that confidence alone was enough to command control at speed. But beneath that early comfort lived a precision so unforgiving that it quickly revealed who had learned to drive properly and who had only learned to believe in themselves. To understand why this car became such a ruthless separator, we need to go back to a moment when performance engineering reached a level where machines could amplify mistakes just as easily as they could amplify talent. And when ego began arriving at the wheel faster than skill ever could, this car was not built to humble drivers intentionally, but it was engineered with such clarity that it made pretenses impossible to sustain. On smooth roads and in gentle conditions, the car felt obedient, composed, and eager, responding cleanly to inputs and giving drivers just enough success to feel validated. That early validation was deceptive because it rewarded surface confidence while quietly waiting for deeper understanding to be required. The difference emerged the moment conditions changed. Uneven pavement, cold tires, a tightening corner taken a little too fast. In those moments, the car stopped flattering and started translating intent with absolute honesty, exposing whether inputs were disciplined or impulsive, whether decisions were planned or reactive. Drivers who relied on bravado found themselves scrambling, while those who had learned patience felt the car remain readable, stable, and responsive. Ego reacted loudly. Skill reacted early. This car didn't care how aggressive you looked or how confident you felt. It responded only to timing, balance, and restraint, revealing that real control lives in preparation rather than reaction. Steering corrections told the truth instantly. Throttle inputs exposed impatience without mercy. Instructors noticed it first. Drivers who talked the most struggled the longest. Drivers who listened improved rapidly. The car became an unintentional teacher, not by lecturing, but by refusing to hide consequences behind electronic kindness or artificial confidence. It didn't punish mistakes out of cruelty. It simply refused to disguise them. That refusal created clarity. Because once ego is stripped away, only skill remains, and this car made that separation unavoidable for anyone who tried to push beyond appearances. It wasn't trying to embarrass drivers. It was revealing them, and that revelation would define everything that followed. As drivers spent more time with the car, the separation became sharper and more uncomfortable, because ego does not fade quietly when it is challenged. It resists, it argues, and it looks for excuses the moment outcomes stop matching expectations. What had once felt like a cooperative machine began to feel confrontational to those who relied on confidence alone, while simultaneously becoming clearer and more predictable to those who understood what was asking in return. Ego-driven drivers reacted the same way almost every time. They blamed conditions. They blamed tires. They blamed setup. Skill-driven drivers did something else entirely. They adjusted inputs. They slowed their thinking. They listened. The car rewarded that difference immediately. Smooth drivers noticed that grip didn't disappear randomly. It faded progressively when weight was managed correctly. Steering didn't feel vague. It felt communicative once aggression was removed. Throttle didn't cause instability unless it was used to force outcomes rather than guide them. What felt unforgiving to ego felt transparent to skill. Track sessions amplified this contrast brutally. Drivers who attacked corners with confidence alone arrived late, overworked the front end, and fought corrections mid-corner, creating chaos that felt sudden and unfair. Drivers who planned entries calmly, respected transfer, and committed early found the car settled, predictable, and almost generous. The machine was not inconsistent. The approach was. That realization hit hardest for experienced drivers who had built reputations elsewhere because the car did not recognize status, accolades, or past success. It responded only to what happened in the moment. Exposing that experience without discipline is just memory, not mastery. Instructors began using the car as a benchmark, not to measure speed, to measure mindset. Those who arrived with humility improved. Those who arrived with ego plateaued quickly. The car wasn't faster than others in a straight line. It wasn't louder. It wasn't dramatic. It was precise. And precision has no tolerance for self-deception. As stories spread, the car gained reputation that marketing never intended. It became known as a machine that didn't care who you thought you were, only how you actually drove. Because when skill and ego collide, skill whispers and adapts, while ego pushes and breaks. And this car made that difference impossible to ignore. Over time, the car began reshaping behavior of those willing to stay with it. Because once ego is stripped away repeatedly, only two options remain: leave or change. Drivers who chose to adapt discovered that the machine was not hostile at all, but remarkably consistent, responding the same way every time when approached with discipline, patience, and a willingness to accept responsibility for every outcome. That consistency became its most powerful lesson. Drivers stopped chasing speed and started chasing clarity. They planned corners earlier. They respected entry more than exit. They learned that restraint created options later, while aggression closed them immediately. What felt punishing before now felt instructional. The car began teaching timing instead of power, balance instead of bravado, and awareness instead of reaction, forcing drivers to confront how much of their previous success had come from systems correcting their impulses rather than skill guiding their decisions. Every lap became quieter, more deliberate, and strangely more satisfying. Those who mastered it noticed something unsettling when they returned to other cars. Machines that once felt exciting now felt vague. Forgiving systems felt distracting. Artificial confidence felt hollow. Because once you experience a car that tells the truth instantly, anything that hides it feels dishonest. The transformation wasn't dramatic. It was internal. Drivers spoke less about the car's limits and more about their own. They stopped blaming circumstances. They started preparing better. This shift created an unexpected divide in the community. Some dismissed the car as difficult, temperamental, or overrated. Others defended it fiercely, not because it was perfect, but because it was honest. The car didn't reward persistence alone. It rewarded growth, and growth is uncomfortable. That discomfort is why the car never achieved universal popularity, but it is also why its influence spread quietly among those who valued mastery over image. It became a reference point, a silent benchmark against which other driving experiences were measured, not by speed, by integrity. Because ego fades when challenged repeatedly, but skill, once forged under pressure, remains. And this car forged it without apology. In the end, the car's true impact had nothing to do with performance figures or lap times, but with the uncomfortable clarity it brought to every driver who tried to dominate it without understanding it. It forced a simple realization that many machines spend years disguising that confidence can be borrowed, but skill must be earned, and no amount of ego can replace preparation when conditions change. This car didn't humiliate drivers to make a point. It educated them by refusing to lie. By stripping away artificial reassurance, it revealed the difference between reacting and anticipating, between pushing and guiding, and between believing you are capable and proving that you are. Those lessons stayed with drivers long after they stepped out of the cockpit. The industry noticed quietly. Design philosophies shifted. Feedback was valued again. Assistance systems became more transparent, not because this car was popular, but because it was instructive. It reminded engineers that machines shape behavior as much as they deliver capability, and that hiding consequences does not remove them. It only delays the moment they must be faced. Cars began speaking more honestly, even if that honesty made them less flattering. This car became a filter rather than a trophy. It didn't exist to impress. It existed to reveal. And in revealing the difference between skill and ego, it left behind something far more valuable than admiration. It left behind better drivers. Because when ego is exposed repeatedly, it either collapses or evolves. And evolution, not dominance, is a true measure of mastery. So what do you think? Are today's cars helping us grow as drivers, or are they still protecting our egos from the truth?